Picture this. You've worked hard your whole life, dutifully socking away money into your 401k for decades. You're looking forward to a comfortable retirement, dreaming of leisurely days and well-deserved vacations. But then, in the blink of an eye, it all vanishes. Your life savings, your future security, gone. Sound like a nightmare? Well, for an alarming number of Americans, this nightmare is becoming a reality. And here's the kicker. You might not even realize you're being scammed until it's far too late. But how is this possible? Aren't 401k supposed to be safe? And who would be cruel enough to steal someone's entire life savings? These are the questions we'll be diving into today. So buckle up, because it's time to learn how money works to protect your hard-earned retirement savings from increasingly sophisticated scammers. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of how these scams work, let's talk about why they're becoming more prevalent. You see, the landscape of fraud has changed dramatically in recent years. Gone are the days of obvious Nigerian prince emails or clumsy phone scams. Today's fraudsters are using cutting-edge technology and psychological manipulation to pull off heists that would make Ocean's 11 look like child's play. But just how sophisticated are we talking? Well, let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're sitting at home one day when you get a call. The caller ID shows it's from the FBI. When you answer, you hear the voice of a stern but professional-sounding agent. They inform you that your identity has been stolen and your 401k is at risk. They need your help to secure your funds immediately. Sounds pretty convincing, right? But here's the twist. It's all fake. Caller ID? Spoofed. The FBI agent's voice? Generated by AI. The urgency? A classic manipulation tactic. This isn't science fiction. It's happening right now, all across America, and the results are devastating. Let's look at a real-life example that'll make your skin crawl. An 80-year-old retired therapist got a call just like the one I described. Over several months, the scammers posing as FBI agents convinced her to cash out over $595,000 from her 401k. Not only did she lose her life savings, but she was also stuck with a $137,000 tax bill. Talk about adding insult to injury. But hold on, because it gets even worse. In another case, a 76-year-old retiree named Barry Heitin lost a staggering $740,000 after scammers posing as federal agents got him to drain his retirement accounts. The kicker? He ended up owing $285,000 in taxes on top of losing everything. That's right, you can lose your money and still owe the IRS. It's a double whammy that can absolutely destroy your financial future. Now you might be thinking, I'm too smart to fall for something like that. But here's the million-dollar question, quite literally in this case. Are you really as scam-proof as you think? The truth is, these scammers are getting scarily good at what they do. They're using AI to clone voices, creating deep fake videos of trusted figures, and exploiting our natural tendency to trust authority. In fact, cybersecurity experts estimate that 70–90% of successful scams rely on social engineering rather than technical hacking. They play on our fears and emotions to bypass our logical defenses. But how exactly do they do this? And more importantly, how can you protect yourself? We'll dive into the tactics these scammers use and the red flags to watch out for right after this short break. Stay tuned, because the information coming up could save your entire retirement savings. Welcome back. Before the break, we were discussing how scammers are using increasingly sophisticated tactics to target 401k accounts. Now, let's dive deeper into how these scams actually work. The first thing you need to understand is that these scammers are masters of manipulation. They use a variety of tactics to gain your trust and create a sense of urgency that clouds your judgment. Here are some of their favorite tricks. Impersonation. As we saw with Barry Heitin's case, scammers often pose as authority figures. They might claim to be from the FBI, IRS, or even your own bank or 401k provider. They use this false authority to pressure you into making quick decisions. Fear-mongering. Scammers love to play on your fears. They might tell you that your account has been compromised, that you're at risk of losing everything, or even that you're under investigation. This fear can make you more likely to follow their instructions without thinking critically. Urgency. A common tactic is to create a false sense of urgency. They'll tell you that you need to act now to protect your money, giving you no time to think or consult others. Technology. As we mentioned earlier, scammers are using AI voice cloning and deepfake videos to make their impersonations more convincing. They might even use information gleaned from data breaches to make their story more believable. But here's a question that might be nagging at you. How do these scammers actually get your money? After all, 401k accounts are supposed to have safeguards in place, right? Well, here's where things get really devious. The scammers don't actually hack into your account. Instead, they convince you to transfer the money yourself. They might tell you to move your funds into a safe account or to invest in a special opportunity. Some even convince victims to withdraw their entire 401k balance and hand over the cash. Let's look at another real-life example that illustrates just how cunning these scams can be. In 2022, a Brooklyn lab technician fell victim to a scam that targeted his 401k rollover. He was in the process of changing jobs and rolling over his 401k, which was worth about $60,000. The scammers intercepted the paper check that was mailed to him, altered it, and cashed it themselves. This case highlights another vulnerability in the system: the use of paper checks for large transfers. It's hard to believe, but many 401k providers still use this outdated and risky method. Now you might be wondering, how common are these scams? Is this really something I need to worry about? The answer might surprise you. According to official reports, out of roughly 645,000,040 plans that filed Form 5,500 in 2021, only 28 reported fraud and dishonesty. That doesn't sound too bad, right? But here's the catch. Experts warn that fraud is significantly underreported. Many victims resolve issues quietly, either out of embarrassment or fear of repercussions. Some might not even realize they've been scammed until it's too late. To give you some perspective, the Federal Trade Commission reported that fraud losses across all consumer scams exceeded $10 billion in 2023. While this covers many types of scams, it gives you an idea of the scale of the problem. But don't panic just yet. Knowledge is power, and understanding how these scams work is the first step to protecting yourself. In the next segment, we'll cover some concrete steps you can take to safeguard your 401k from these sophisticated scammers. But before we get to that, here's a question to ponder. If you received a call right now from someone claiming to be from your 401k provider, warning you about suspicious activity in your account, what would you do? Would you know how to verify if the call was legitimate? If you received a suspicious call about your 401k right now, would you know what to do? Let's dive into some concrete strategies to protect your hard-earned savings. First and foremost, remember this golden rule. Never make immediate decisions about your 401k based on an unsolicited call or email. No matter how urgent they make it sound, take a step back and verify independently. Here are some key steps to protect yourself. 1. Verify, verify, verify. If you get a call about your 401k, hang up and call your plan administrator directly using a number you trust. Never use a number provided by the caller. Guard your personal information. Legitimate financial institutions will never ask for sensitive information like your social security number or account passwords over the phone or email. Be wary of pressure tactics. Scammers often create a false sense of urgency. If someone's pushing you to act quickly, it's a red flag. 2. Use strong security measures. Set up two-factor authentication on your accounts, use complex passwords, and never reuse passwords across multiple accounts. Monitor your accounts regularly. Check your 401k statements monthly. Set up alerts for any withdrawals or changes to your account. Be skeptical of too good to be true offers. If someone's promising guaranteed high returns or secret strategies, it's likely a scam. Educate yourself. Stay informed about the latest scam tactics. Resources like the FTC's website and FINRA's Scam Meter can help. Now, let's address a question that might be on your mind. What if I've already fallen for a scam? Is all hope lost? While recovering from a 401k scam can be challenging, it's not impossible. If you suspect you've been scammed, act quickly. 1. Contact your 401k provider immediately. File a complaint with the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, IC3. Report the scam to the FTC at ftc.gov/complaint. Consider freezing your credit to prevent further fraud. Remember, time is of the essence. The faster you act, the better your chances of recovering your funds. But here's a sobering thought. What if the scam isn't coming from outside your company, but from within? While rare, internal 401k fraud does happen. In 2021, the Department of Labor recovered over $1.9 billion in direct payments to employee benefit plans, participants, and beneficiaries. This includes cases of employers misusing 401k funds or failing to deposit employee contributions. So how can you protect yourself from internal fraud? Here are a few tips. Know your rights. Familiarize yourself with ERISA, Employee Retirement Income Security Act, which sets minimum standards for most retirement plans. Check your pay stubs. Ensure that the amount deducted for your 401k matches what appears in your account. Review your company's Form 5500. This is an annual report that provides details about your company's 401k plan. It's publicly available on the Department of Labor's website. Don't ignore red flags. If your employer is consistently late in depositing your contributions, or if you notice discrepancies in your account, speak up. Now, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Why are 401k scams becoming more prevalent? There are a few factors at play. The sheer amount of money involved. Americans held about $7.3 billion in 401k plans as of 2021. That's a very tempting target for scammers. An aging population? As more baby boomers retire, there's a larger pool of potential victims with substantial savings. Technological advancements. As we discussed earlier, AI and deepfake technology have made scams more sophisticated and harder to detect. Financial literacy gaps. Many Americans lack basic financial knowledge, making them more vulnerable to scams. But here's a question to ponder. Could the structure of 401k plans themselves be part of the problem? Could the structure of 401k plans themselves be contributing to the scam problem? Let's dive into this controversial idea. First, let's consider some eye-opening statistics about 401k plans. The average 401k balance for Americans in their 60s is around $182,100. That might sound like a lot, but it's actually not enough to sustain most people through retirement. About 35% of private sector workers don't even have access to a 401k or similar retirement plan at work. Of those who do have access, many aren't contributing enough. The average contribution rate is about 7% of salary, well below the 15% experts recommend. Now, here's where things get interesting. The 401k system puts a lot of responsibility on individual workers to manage their own retirement savings, but many people lack the financial literacy to make informed decisions about their investments. This knowledge gap creates an opportunity for scammers. They can exploit people's confusion and anxiety about their retirement savings to manipulate them into making poor decisions. But it's not just about financial literacy. The 401k system also creates a psychological burden. People are constantly worried about whether they're saving enough, investing correctly, or if they'll have enough to retire comfortably. This anxiety can make them more susceptible to scams that promise to solve their retirement worries. So, is there a better way? Some experts argue for a return to traditional pension plans where employers bear more responsibility for ensuring their workers' retirement security. Others advocate for a universal, government-managed retirement savings system. But let's be real, major changes to the retirement system aren't likely to happen overnight. So what can you do in the meantime to protect yourself? Here are some advanced strategies to bulletproof your 401k. Diversify beyond your 401k. While 401k are a great tool, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Consider also investing in IRAs, taxable brokerage accounts, or real estate. Understand your investments. Take the time to learn about the funds available in your 401k. Don't just stick with the default options. Be cautious of company stock. If your employer offers company stock in your 401k, be wary of over-investing. Remember Enron? Consider a Roth 401k. If your employer offers this option, it can provide tax diversity in retirement. Use target date funds wisely. These can be a good option for hands-off investors, but make sure you understand how they work. Don't forget about old 401k. If you've changed jobs, make sure to either roll over or keep track of your old 401k accounts. Now here's a mind-bending fact to consider. Despite all the risk we've discussed, 401k are still one of the safest places to keep your money. They're protected by federal law, and even if your employer goes bankrupt, your 401k funds are separate and can't be touched by creditors. So why do we spend so much time worrying about 401k scams? Well, it's because the consequences of falling victim to one can be so devastating. Remember Barry Heitin, who lost $740,000 and ended up owing $285,000 in taxes? That's a financial blow that most people would never recover from. But here's an interesting question to ponder. Could our fear of scams actually be making us more vulnerable to them? Think about it. When we're constantly worried about protecting our money, we might be more likely to believe someone who claims they can help us do just that. It's a paradox that scammers are all too happy to exploit. So what's the solution? Balance. Be vigilant, but don't let fear paralyze you or cloud your judgment. Educate yourself, take reasonable precautions, but also remember that your 401k is a powerful tool for building long-term wealth. As we wrap up, let's recap the key takeaways. 1K scams are becoming more sophisticated, often using AI and social engineering tactics. Always verify any communication about your 401k independently. Never make rush decisions about your retirement savings. Regularly monitor your accounts and use strong security measures. Educate yourself about your investments and the risks involved. Consider diversifying your retirement savings beyond just your 401k. Remember, your retirement savings represent years of hard work and sacrifice. Don't let scammers take that away from you. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and don't be afraid to ask questions or seek help if something doesn't seem right. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe for more insights on protecting your financial future. And don't forget to check out our newsletter, where we provide weekly updates on the latest scams and how to avoid them. Until next time, stay safe, stay smart, and keep building that secure retirement you deserve.